Good evening. Um, Welcome to your sports season coaches meeting. For you, obviously, if you are attending this meeting, your child has been able to participate on a team here at Yorktown Middle School. For some of you, this may be the first experience at Yorktown Middle School. For others, it may be old hat to you. Me speaking to the parents is a new thing. So for most of you, particularly this year, this is going to be the first time you see this video. We'll use it every year thereafter for the most part, unless we need to make adaptations to it. I want to congratulate you. Obviously, athletics is a great way for children to develop certain skills that are transferable into life. It's very important to be connected to other students in the building and to be a part of something larger than just yourself. So athletics has always been very near and dear to me. I was a student athlete as a youngster, also as a young educator. I coached prior to going into administration. So as far as, a principal role, there are, obviously others like me, but there aren't many that appreciate and understand the role that athletics play in the overall quality of the community and the school experience and for the growth of the child. So which is one reason why I've chosen to communicate and try to provide some information and kind of fulfill a leadership role. Because even though you may not see me at every single athletic event, I am in constant communication with our athletic director. I oversee the school, and I am still ultimately the one that is responsible for all of these things. Having said that, I'm kind of at the age in my life currently where I feel like I can share a lot of experiences. For some of you, I'm probably a little bit older than you. Some I'm the exact same age. Some of you may be just a slight bit older than me if we all have children in middle school. So I feel like at my current point in life, I have the most to probably offer at this point to share. I've seen a definite shift over the past few years with athletics and with parents. So I just I've made some notes. I want to share some things. And also at the end share, some definite things that are just a must for you as a family and as an adult to be a part of the athletic programs here at Yorktown Middle School. But I always want to start with the students and the children. Obviously, we have many students who go on to play at higher levels, and the thing that I've noticed over, the past 15 years that I've been in the office here at Yorktown Middle School is the idea that there has to be an end goal or a pot of gold per se at the end of the line. So while there are many, many, many children who do go on to play beyond high school from Yorktown Middle School, and a very, very small handful that have ever gone on to do anything overseas professionally, those types of things. I just think that's important to keep in mind. Everybody, and I'm a big proponent of club situations and AAU situations, travel baseball, those types of things. But what we do here at Yorktown Middle School is different and should be different. That being said, allow your students to grow. This is time for them to develop as athletes, to develop as people, to learn those valuable life lessons. Not everything is dependent upon the end results. We love championships. We love to compete, and I am one of the most competitive people, if you get to know me on a personal level, that you can be around. However, I do also understand that we are building programs for the varsity and high school levels. We do have students who will be participating in specific sports for the first time in their lives in middle school, and some won't play after middle school, and even a smaller amount will play after high school. So as a parent, keep that in mind. Some of you are just like me. You were athletes. Some of you were not. Some of you have a great handle on that sort of thing. I've seen others that have not. Make it an enjoyable experience. It will go too fast. If the only end goal for you is a college scholarship, or a hope that your child is going to be a professional athlete, you're going to miss out on some very special moments and some very special opportunities. So, encourage the children. Don't if your child makes mistakes, don't rehash it over and over and over. They know that they made errors. They know that they, could have done certain things better. Be their cheerleader. Coaches are going to fulfill that role. Students are going to put enough pressure on themselves in that role. There are all kinds of things that you can do to enhance that. The other thing that I've seen over the years that can be a very slippery slope, celebrate your child's strengths, but also celebrate their teammates. Every sport that we have, even the ones that are individual in nature, are all team-oriented here at Yorktown Middle School. So, the worst thing and the most slippery slope that you can possibly do, particularly at this age when students are very much learning the fundamentals and basics of the sports, and by all stretches of the imagination, none of our athletes are fully developed and at their peak at this age. There are going to be mistakes made. Bringing light or blame to other people's children, coaches, things of that nature severely hinders the progress of your individual athlete. And so I know no one would intentionally do that, but it is definitely something that I have noticed more and more of over the past decade of my experiences. We still have plenty that don't operate that way, but coaches make note of that. It starts showing through in play and attitude and effort, and it's certainly something that you just don't want to do if that were the case. Another thing that I've seen become a lot more apparent in certain sports is a lot of looking up in the stands by the athletes and coaching or instruction or those types of things taking place from the stands or the sidelines or whatever the case may be. That can be a double-edged sword. You may have a great deal of knowledge even in that area or feel that you have. That's the other thing. Everybody can coach now with a lot of these travel sports and those types of things. So I'm not saying that people don't have expertise or don't have knowledge in these different areas. But when you are coaching from the stands, it can be very confusing because even though what you might be saying might be fundamentally accurate, it may be going against what the actual coach that we have hired and put in charge of your student athlete is trying to accomplish. So it can be very counterproductive. And it also sends a message to your athlete that you supersede the person that is in charge of them. And one day, particularly when you start getting further along into the varsity ranks, or even if they play post-high school, that just simply won't work, and those coaches simply won't tolerate it. And in one day in life, you won't be there for them. So you want them to go through adversity. You don't want to have to coach them through every single tough situation, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. Let them develop, let them play the game, let them go through those sorts of things without you actually going through the process of coaching from the stands. Also, understand that in middle school, it certainly is, like I said, it's different. Some kids get to play the majority of contests. There are scenarios and situations where children don't get to play as much as what they might like to, or that they haven't in a rec league setting or in a pay to play type of travel scenario where everything's kind of equal and those types of things. There are moments and times, and particularly as you get further along in the grade levels and closer to high school, where playing time does become a scenario that can be limited for your athlete, and that is part of the process. You have one of two things that you can do in that situation. You can tell your athlete to work harder, try to figure out ways to find themselves on the court or on the mat or whatever the athletic event that is taking place is happening. You can tell them to speak with the coaches. One thing that at Yorktown Middle School, and we do not mind having dialogue with parents, the athletic director, the coaches, confronting the coaches in a negative sort of fashion, aggressively. I always tell parents, do not approach a coach immediately after a game if you are upset, because that situation, in my experience, has never ended well. Take a night, sleep on it, see if you still have any sort of concerns that you had from the night prior. And even if you do, generally, it has come down some notches and we can have productive dialogue. I will tell you, on my end, as a principal, I don't discuss playing time with parents. You need to have your child work through that with their coach. You can certainly have them approach the athletic director, but I do not get involved in playing time decisions. It's just something that's why we hire coaches. That's why they are board approved, and that's why we put them in those leadership positions. So while I understand everyone wants to see their child play, sometimes those things simply don't happen. And there are no coaches that don't want to win or intentionally are trying not to play people. They will certainly always make it a point to get children as much experience as they possibly can while not diluting or taking away from the goals that they're trying to accomplish as far as building the program, being competitive in certain scenarios and situations and things of that nature. So parents, your behavior towards coaches, you're held just as accountable as a player. So it's a rare situation, but there have been times that I've had to become involved in those sorts of situations. And we never want that to negatively impact the students because of an adult situation, basically. Which leads me to my last point. Obviously, when we're out in the public or even here at Yorktown Middle School at our events, we want to be passionate, we want to cheer, we want to compete, and we want to be victorious. However, we don't want to come across in a negative light as far as with officials, with other crowd members. If you ever have issues with people from the opposing team, please find an administrator on duty, whether it be Mr. Moody, Mr. Strong, myself. Sometimes we will have Mr. Greg Miller or Mr. Eric Brown or Mr. Hill helping with supervision as well. Please don't take those moments and conflicts into your own hands. Please make sure that you come and find one of us so those things don't escalate. Please do not become belligerent or over the top with our officials. I promise you they're doing the best job that they possibly can, and they are not, intentionally trying to cause us to lose any contests or to do irreversible harm to your athletes. They obviously have bad evenings, just like all of us have bad days and bad days at the job and those sorts of things. None of them are professionals. If they were, they wouldn't be working on a Tuesday night at Yorktown Middle School, but they are trained and they are certified and they do a very nice job, which kind of goes along the same lines as the people that we hire to coach. You know, we are not hiring Coach Krzyzewski to coach our basketball teams. However, we are hiring people that we feel are very knowledgeable to guide and provide those leadership opportunities. So, you know, I hope that you got a few items that can make you think a little bit. I want nothing but the best for our school, our community, and most importantly, your individual child. And athletics is a wonderful way for that to occur. And look forward to your child experiencing those things and taking those things leading throughout the remainder of their time here and into high school and throughout the rest of their life. So thank you and good luck with your upcoming season.